June 14th and 15th, 2023. So, for these couple of days, the moon is going to be in a really wonderful place, which is the sign of Taurus. And so the moon's exalted in this sign. And so when the moon's in Taurus, it is an invitation, as always, to ground, to slow down, to get into our bodies, to enjoy all of the physical pleasures that life has to offer. And this is an opportunity that we get on a monthly basis, regardless of all the other planets, Mercury doing this, or Venus in this sign, or Mars in this sign. When the moon moves into Taurus, we can become more stable and draw healthy boundaries, because Taurus is an earth sign. Now, one of the things about Taurus that's not just about enjoying the five senses, enjoying what is all around you, really taking advantage, feeling, touching, tasting, smelling, getting outside in nature, taking a walk. But through engaging with our five senses and with this world, we can become more present. And it's a wonderful time to build up our own sense of self-worth. I was just reading about the North Node in the sign of Taurus by Jan Spiller's book, Astrology of the Soul, which I have been reading. And I want to be honest about the experience of reading this. All the while I was reading this, I was adjusting my glasses. Over and over again, there was something they have to adjust. And that became annoying. But it doesn't have to be perfect. And when you find yourself readjusting things and the experience is not perfect, be okay with it not being perfect. Be okay with it not being a certain way, because it doesn't have to be a certain way. Trying to see beyond the details and the imperfections. I was reading about my North Node placement, which is in Taurus. The North Node is finishing up in Taurus. And so, the big, issue, the big topic that she was speaking about is the sense of self-worth, the sense of being true to yourself, validating yourself, knowing what is valuable and important to you, and asserting those boundaries, asserting what you need, asserting what you would and would not feel comfortable with. And another thing I was reading is that the Scorpio South Node is on the quest for a soulmate. It wants to be in a really closely bonded relationship where the two people are together, they're merging power with one another. However, to simply expect that this person is going to give you total validation, provide for you and give you everything that you need and want. That's where the person with the Taurus North Node has to step into the energy of, okay, I'm sure of myself and I'm willing to do the work to stay the course and provide for myself. And you know what? I am worthy of experiencing what there is in the present moment. I am worthy of all the abundance that I have. I am worthy of having this. I'm sure with people with a Scorpio North node in their natal chart, they must feel like you have it easy. Learning about my North node, I think that you have it pretty easy. You should be looking about, where you need to go. However, if we unpack the layers of that South node in Scorpio, which is an intense, destructive, passionate energy, if we, dig deeper, we can find that there may be a challenge. It's not about the past, the future, instead of getting caught up in, crisis and, drama, it's not sustainable. But when you can just slow down, when you can complete yourself, give yourself permission, be in the present moment, and choose to see the light and feel appreciation for your life and all those positive things, that it does not have to be so complicated. Because one of the things is being really drawn to crisis and risk taking. But it's also about establishing, taking the steps, and making sure that it is something that you value, something that you're comfortable with. And so there were a couple of things that I was going to say to this. I don't remember now. I had them in my mind, but I forgot what I was going to say. So, yeah. That's all that I have to say. It really comes down to, valuing yourself, self-worth. And the North Node is in Taurus, and the Moon's in Taurus, so we can notice when we're tapping into that energy and releasing the shadow sides of that Scorpio energy, which is the South Node in Scorpio, that we're trying to let go of. So, yeah. And it's important also, I think this is what I was going to talk about, that, being in situations that drain you, this Taurus moon can help sort of put you back into a place of groundedness, and I'm putting myself in a situation that is right for me. I had a dream last night about when I was it was, reflected on something that happened in my own reality. This was about, the dream was about a relationship that I have in my life that feels limiting to me. Whenever I am in this relationship, I feel that I cannot express and be authentic to myself. And it does feel like there is the potential for oil and water arguments, for conflict, and for disagreements, negativity, the sort of taking away of peace. I have a Libra moon, and there's a deep inherent need for peace and to be in relationship with somebody. even though there is also part of me that I do have to admit that drama and arguments, confrontations, and expressing myself is also, I'm drawn to that. There is a part of me that is drawn to that. So it's interesting, the two different parts of me. So I had this dream. I was getting very frustrated, and I was trying to keep the peace. But I also know that in this situation, I would not compromise my truth, what I wanted to say, what I wanted changed, and what I felt that I needed. And I felt that I could not express that there was a power struggle going on in the dream. In this dream, there was also a substitute person who came in and took over. By this, I mean someone much younger than the person that I have this relationship with. Black hair, kind of Asian American like, who was, taking over, maybe helping around the house or maybe filling in a sort of role for this other person. And I remember getting into the same or similar conflict with them. However, when I was about to get very defensive and argue my truth, I just stopped and I sort of allowed things to unfold. And then there was a conversation that I was having with this substitute about facing the relationship demon. And in this part of the dream, it also came up from another issue that occurred a year ago. I was in a relationship with somebody who I thought was draining me, who was overpowering me. And I felt that, there was just this energy of this person being very probing, very fixating, and very judgmental of me. And I would feel drained, and very, insecure and sort of at a level of discomfort because I wouldn't have any idea what this person would say to me. And it was very hard to make eye contact and really comfortably talk to this person. Now, I'm also alluding to something else here, is that another thing that I was reading about the Scorpio South Node, Taurus North Node, is attracting people who may have certain difficulties or challenges or something like that. And I know a couple close friends that I have had. I don't have many close friends, but a couple of them do have certain challenges. One of them, has ADHD. Another, has something else. I don't want to get specific here, but that was something that was, that sort of came to my mind as I was reading this. Is people are not going to read your minds. They're not going to not everyone's going to intuitively know what you need. And you can't always just live your life on the backs of other people. You have to sort of step into that energy of autonomy, that I'm putting my needs first, and I'm the independent person, and I'm the self-sufficient person who is owning my value, to then have the bond that I would be really craving as someone with the Scorpio South Node and Taurus North Node. So, anyway, going back to, this dream, there was this experience where I had things in my mind to say about this person, that I wanted to let this person go from my life. I didn't want to be in relationship with this person anymore, yet I was tied to this person for a specific amount of time because of my own needs. And that situation that I was in a year ago was really reflective of that South Node. And I started a temporary job that was not of my own choosing, was not of my own accord. I didn't decide for my own autonomy. I wanted this job. I wanted to make my own money. It was this sort of inherited thing when I was working, not for money, but for another sort of program, the work program, that was, off of, someone else providing it to me as opposed to me taking the initiative and, doing it on my own. And then, of course, being in a situation where there were certain conversations and certain people with their, own issues and things going on, and them not being allowed to be in their own power and be independent, be self-sufficient, sort of dimmed in terms of being true to themselves and valuing themselves. So that situation was really, it was very, it was difficult to be in. Yet it was also, there was something about being drawn to the drama and to that conversation of what was going on, that it was something very attractive about it that I was drawn to, that I secretly enjoyed overhearing the issues going on with this, particular person. I don't know. To be perfectly honest and real here, because that's what Scorpio is about, being real and raw. Instead of sort of minding my own business, drawing healthy boundaries, not getting so caught up in what was going on with this other person, which is another part of Taurus North Node, is minding your own business, living your own life, going on your own path without getting caught up in other people's emotional stuff, psychology, motivations, all those kind of things. So, without getting so caught up in the drama, the darkness, the intensity of life is what it's really about. So, there was this one day when I had the opportunity to go and sort of around to experience what sort of a place that involved getting a job. I don't know, be specific about this, but there was this thing I was doing where I was kicking a board, and I'm sure that maybe you're familiar with this, kicking, breaking boards, board breaking, or releasing a certain issue or person or thing that you feel holds you back from becoming true to yourself. And this was a very North Node and Taurus thing, to sort of release what takes away from your sense of self-worth, or my sense of self-worth. But I wasn't entirely honest, because it was an arbitrary issue that I was not feeling passionate about releasing, that was not in my heart and my mind true for me, because I did not want to hurt or go against somebody else. So I put another issue that wasn't what was true for me, that wasn't what I was feeling, was holding myself back from that feeling of self-worth, I guess you could say. And so it was another issue. It was me wearing glasses and how that would hold me back, which wasn't really a problem at the time. It is sort of annoying now to keep readjusting my glasses, and I need my glasses to wear. I need to wear them on a daily basis, but that wasn't an issue for me at the time. But I hit the board and I was not feeling that passion, that confidence in what I was hitting. And what I wanted to put down on the board was this other person that I wanted to release from my life, that I wanted to let go of, as this person who was pulling me down energetically, draining me, making me feel in a bad way, and sort of tied to this person in a really powerful way. They were overpowering me. And so, because of being afraid to just be honest and put that on the board and then, just kick the board, I did not do that. And so this dream was sort of a mirror back to me of, well, this relationship demon who happened to be someone else. I said in the dream, actually, it was you. It's you who is the demon. Saying that and being honest about that, being transparent about that, speaking up about that, advocating about that, being assertive about that. And it was actually someone else, this other person that is in my life who I have had conflict with. And then I remember getting very emotional and almost being out of breath, saying, I don't want conflict, there's always an argument, and just getting very upset about the dynamics of the relationship. And then I remember waking up. Point is that I choose to not continue to let this person or this situation take away from my own sense of courage and confidence, in the sense of self-worth and being true to what I value. And I am allowed to be true to that, especially because it's my North Node placement. And the situation reminded me a lot of the North Node in the sign of Libra, which is about peacemaking, harmonizing, relationship, putting someone's needs before your own. It's about, cooperation with another, which is not where the North Node is going to be going this summer. It's going to be heading into Aries. And I wonder how it feels when you have the South Node conjunct your Sun. I wonder how that feels. It may be a more difficult or challenging energy, where you're expressing that, but then these are apparently bad habits, bad things that you may need to release. You're meant to move toward something different. I don't know. But, sometimes you may be in certain situations. I may be in certain situations where the way to go is North Node in Libra instead of North Node in Aries. That's just the way to go. And it can be frustrating. Maybe you try to follow the North Node in Aries, self-confidence, being assertive, really being true to yourself, expressing yourself, what is on your mind and your heart, what you need and want, etc. Asserting your boundaries, all of that. But then when you do that, you can feel really drained and pulled down into something else that is more negative, and it can feel like when you do that, it doesn't help the situation, and you want to be true to yourself. So I will say that some situations require you to step out of authenticity and focus on the other person and relationship. But then we can fall prey to devaluing our own sense of truth and self-worth because we feel that we are not allowed to be true to ourselves and express ourselves. And we can deceive and devalue ourselves when we fall into, you're right, I'm wrong. And then, apparently I'm not, good enough and all those kind of things. And I'm the one in the wrong. I have a problem. All those kind of things that we fall into, which can also relate to passive aggression when we don't feel like we can be true to ourselves and express our truth. Which is something that we need to be really mindful of falling into when we're in those emotionally draining situations where we feel inhibited or where we feel like we want to be true to ourselves, yet we also don't want to rock the boat because of this emotionally intense situation that you may be in. Detachment from that situation, healthy boundaries away from the situation. Not getting pulled down or caught up in those intense emotions, and not letting your own sense of truth slip away from you, and not keeping hold of your own inner truth. And so, that can be very frustrating. And it is about not allowing the external world to tell you what is right for you, what is wrong for you. It's about not letting the external world try to gaslight your sense of truth and try to make you feel wrong for feeling a certain way, thinking a certain way, or doing certain things. It's not about allowing that to get the better of you, or you're doing things for other people, but it doesn't feel true for you. It feels like you're devaluing yourself, and then you feel an inner fire that comes up inside of you that needs to be expressed, let out. And you need to be honest about what you want, what you need, and what you feel, instead of trying to hide those feelings in. And so, yeah. Now, that being said, that is a video about this.